You know exactly what you need to do. You've known for hours, maybe days. You've thought about it from every angle, mentally rehearsed starting it, probably even researched how to do it better. And yet, here you are, not doing it. That's not laziness. That's something far more specific. And it almost exclusively targets people who think too much. Here's the uncomfortable part. The smarter you are, the more sophisticated your avoidance becomes. Most people assume procrastination is a productivity problem. It's not. It's an emotional regulation problem dressed up in logic. And intelligent people are exceptionally good at making that disguise convincing. Let me explain what's actually happening inside your head. When you're faced with a task that feels uncertain, something where the outcome isn't guaranteed, where you might fail visibly, where the quality might not match your own standard, your brain doesn't just resist. It builds a case. A detailed, rational, internally consistent case for why right now isn't the right time. You need more information first. You need the right conditions. You need to feel ready. None of that is laziness. It's your mind protecting your identity. Psychologists call this self-worth protection. The idea that if you never fully try, you never fully fail. If you delay long enough, the result can always be blamed on time pressure rather than ability. It's not a conscious choice. It's an automatic psychological defense. And intelligent people are more prone to it precisely because they're more aware of how they might be judged, including by themselves. There's another layer beneath that. High cognitive ability comes with something called a strong evaluative mind, an internal critic that processes outcomes, anticipates reactions, and simulates scenarios before they happen. That same mental capacity that makes you perceptive and analytical, it runs detailed simulations of failure. And the more vivid those simulations, the more emotionally real they feel. The brain doesn't easily distinguish between imagined threat and actual threat. So you freeze, not because you can't do the thing, but because your mind has already run the version where it goes wrong. Now here's where it gets more specific. There's a pattern researchers have observed in high-achieving, analytically gifted individuals, a tendency toward what's called maladaptive perfectionism. Not the kind people brag about in job interviews. The real kind. The kind where starting feels like committing to a version that might be imperfect, and imperfect feels intolerable. So the easiest exit is to not start at all. But it's not even pure perfectionism. Most intelligent procrastinators aren't waiting for ideal conditions. They're waiting for certainty. And certainty is a thing the brain manufactures. It's never delivered. Meanwhile, your dopamine system is doing something insidious. Every task you avoid, your brain finds something else. Something smaller, easier, more immediately rewarding. You check something. You research something tangentially related. You reorganize. You answer the easy email instead of writing the important one. Each of these delivers a small dose of completion, just enough neurochemical reward to reduce the pressure without removing the problem. What this does over time is train your brain to associate the original task with tension and avoidance with relief. That association strengthens with every cycle. Eventually, just seeing the task triggers discomfort before you've even decided whether to do it. You didn't build a bad habit. You built a conditioned response. And the more intelligent you are, the more elaborate the avoidance can become, because you have more raw material to construct it from. You can spend 2 hours productively doing things that aren't the thing. You can feel busy while going nowhere. You can read about productivity instead of doing the work. You can turn avoidance into an entire parallel life that looks almost like discipline. Almost. Here's what changes things. And it's not a productivity system. The shift that actually interrupts this cycle is learning to separate the emotion from the action, not removing the discomfort, not waiting until it passes, just refusing to treat the feeling of resistance as accurate information about the task. Resistance is not evidence that the task is wrong or that you're unready. It's evidence that something feels uncertain. That's it. And you can act inside uncertainty. You've done it before in smaller ways, without realizing it. The second shift is lowering the activation threshold. Not by convincing yourself the task is easy, it might not be, but by making the first genuine action so small that it bypasses the brain's threat evaluation entirely. Not planning to start, not mentally rehearsing. A single physical action that moves matter in the real world, even slightly. The evaluative mind needs a gap to fill. Give it nothing to evaluate. Start before it can run the simulation. The third shift is the hardest one. You have to stop using intelligence as armor. The analysis, the research, the refinement. At some point, it stops being preparation and starts being protection. And the most honest question you can ask yourself in that moment is not, am I ready, but am I hiding? Intelligent people are not immune to fear. They're just better at naming it something else. That's the trap. You've probably recognized yourself somewhere in this video. Not because this is a description of weakness, but because this is what happens when a high-functioning mind is turned on itself without direction. The goal isn't to stop thinking. It's to stop letting thinking become a substitute for doing. If this reached something in you, subscribe. This channel exists for the people who understand everything about their own patterns and are still trying to find the way out. That's a specific kind of person. If that's you, you're in the right place.